everybody. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. Move you over a little bit. Move you over a lot of bit. There. Oh. Okay. I am Heidi Doyle, Director of Children's Ministries at First Lutheran Church in Bemidji, Minnesota. And we are here today to learn a little bit about Epiphany. Well, last week I couldn't remember my announcement that was super important. And it is, we are having a Valentine's make and take next Saturday, the 12th, for Valentine's Day. And it's God is love, because he is. And we're going to do some fun Valentine's crafts. And it's not just for little kids. Big kids too, grown-ups too, grandmas too, everybody. So I hope you can come. It's February 12th from 1 to 3 in the fellowship hall here at First Lutheran Church. So that was my exciting news that I couldn't remember last time. Today we are going to talk about fishing. I have my boat here, a couple boats here. And our reading, the Bible verse, is Luke 5, verses 1 through 11. And I want you to say, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Epiphanies. Today is the 5th Sunday in Epiphany. And Epiphany is the season of light. Oh, I forgot my flashlight. Well, I got boats. So, it's the season of light when we learn more about Jesus. And also, people Jesus called to be his disciples. And do you know what a disciple is? It's you, because you're learning about Jesus. A disciple is someone who is a student, a learner. And then once they've learned all they need to learn and they're sent out into the world, they're called apostles. It took me a long time to learn that. So it's not just those 12 people that Jesus made friends with and took along on his ministries. It is you and me. Jesus called brothers. Do you have a brother? Well, he called a set of brothers, and they're just like you and me. Well, I'm not a brother, I'm a sister. But today's story is from the Gospel of Luke. And how many Gospels are in the New Testament? 5? 2? 10? 12? 4! Yes, that's right, 4. Do you know what the names of the Gospels are? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Only 4. Jesus invited fishermen and many other people to follow him to be his disciples. How do you think Jesus got their attention? How do you get people's attention? What might have he said or done? Do you think he shouted? Do you think he ran after them? Do you think he jumped up and waved his arms? How might have Jesus hooked people into following him? Well, we have a little rhyme here, and it's going to tell us the names of his 12 disciples. Peter and Andrew, James and John, fishers and brothers all day long. Matthew, Philip, and dear old Bart followed Jesus from the start. Thomas and Thaddeus both start with a T. They followed Jesus, yes sirree. Simon, James, and Judas too. That's all 12. We can follow too. That's kind of fun. Do you think you can memorize all 12 of the disciples' names? That will be my challenge for you today. Let's open with prayer. Jesus, We are your disciples. I am Heidi. So you have to say, I am, and what your name is. Okay? You're a disciple. Help us share ourselves and your love with the world. Let your light shine through us every day. Amen. So, fishing is fun. How many fish have you caught? Do you do it in a boat, or do you do it with a fishing pole? Like this one? This would be a nice fishing pole, right? And then when you make it long, it's a summer fishing pole. Have you fished in a river or a lake or an ocean? Well, today in Sunday school, I gave everybody a fishing pole, and we caught some fish. And what we did was we wrote names of people that we could go fishing for. So we wrote our friends' names, mom and dad, grandma and grandpa. That's who you could tell, people you could tell about Jesus. Even one fish had my name on it, Miss Heidi. Today we're going to hear about how Jesus invited some friends to follow him. Jesus wanted to teach them how to serve others and be like him. He said, what would you say to someone that you wanted to follow? Wanted to follow you? Follow me. That's pretty easy. So, if I had my flashlight, the light reminds us of the light of Jesus during Epiphany. And if you have a flashlight, I want you to shine it on your feet and say, follow Jesus with me. Follow Jesus with me. And our story today is in Luke and our World Story Bible. That's this one with the pictures. The story is called We'll Catch People, and it's on page 214. There's our pictures. Luke 5, verses 1 through 11. Last time, Peter shouted, pull! Andrew, James, and John pulled in their fishing nets. Empty again. The men slumped in the boat. They all fished all night, but caught no fish. Slowly, they rowed back to shore. They felt disappointed, tired, and hungry. Jesus walked up to them and got into the boat. People had gathered on the beach to hear Jesus teach. As they floated out onto the water, Jesus said, Peter, try your nets one more time. Teacher, Peter groaned as he lowered his nets. There are no fish here. But Peter felt a tug. And another. The fishermen struggled to pull in their nets. Flopping fish filled their boat. Impossible, yelled James. A miracle, yelled Andrew. Jesus filled our nets with fish, yelled John. Peter fell to his knees and whispered, Leave me alone, Jesus. I don't deserve this miracle from God. Don't be afraid, Jesus comforted. God's miracles are for everyone. Follow me. We won't catch any more fish. We'll catch people. Peter dropped the nets, still wriggling with fish. The fishermen left their boats and followed Jesus. Jesus caught others along the way. Matthew, Philip, Bartholomew, Thomas, James, Thaddeus, Simon, Judas. 12 men heard Jesus and followed him as disciples. So how did the disciples feel after fishing all night and catching no fish? Hungry, tired, and in Jesus' time, the time the fishermen would go fishing was in the night. They didn't fish in the day. So they had fished all night long doing their job and didn't catch any fish. When have you worked really hard and felt disappointed? What amazing things happened when Jesus told the disciples to lower their nets one more time? What did Jesus invite the fishermen to do after he filled the nets with fish? To leave them and follow him. What about Jesus makes you want to follow him? The disciples in this story were likely young men who would have been honored to be invited by a teacher like Jesus to follow and learn from him. We can all follow Jesus just like the disciples. Being a disciple is sort of like following a parent or a teacher. When the disciples followed Jesus, they didn't just walk behind him. Jesus taught them about God, and they listened, and they learned from him. But they did walk a lot. They went from town to town, so more people could learn about Jesus and learn about God. We talked a lot about fishing. And we learned that when Jesus said to fish for people, he meant to invite others to follow him and to be part of God's family. What can you tell someone is the best part about being a part of God's family? So we'll go on to the Big Kids Bible. And that is for our 3rd through 5th graders. And today we learn more about how Jesus invited people to follow him. And before we learn the story to discover how he did it, imagine that Jesus is inviting people to follow him today. How would you let people know who he is? Who would you invite? Who might follow him? Would he use a mass email? Would he text people? How about using social media, like right now? Well, he is using social media right now because we're live on Facebook. And then he's going to use YouTube and have it be there for people that can't watch it today at 3 o'clock. All right. We are going to read Luke 5 verses 1, Luke chapter 5 verses 1 through 11. And that is on page 1196. That's in the back. 1100. I just saw it. I flipped too far. Five, 8. A lot of pages are stuck together. 6. Jesus calls the first disciples. Once while Jesus was standing beside the lake of Gennesaret, and the crowd was pressing in on him to hear the word of God, he saw 2 boats. 1, 2. Probably didn't look like my boats, but they're representational. There at the shore of the lake, the fishermen had gone out of them and were washing their nets. He got into one of the boats, and it was the one belonging to Simon, and asked him to put out a little way from the shore. Then he sat down and taught the crowds from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into deep water and let down your nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we have worked all night long, but have caught nothing. Yet if you say so, I will let down the nets." When they had done this, they caught so many fish that their nets were beginning to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats, so that they began to sink. But when Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, "Go away from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." For he and all who were with him were amazed at the catch of fish that they had taken. And so also were James and John, son of Zebedee, who were partners of Simon. But then Jesus said to Simon, "Do not be afraid. From now on you will be catching people." When they had brought their boats to shore, they left everything and followed him. Who are the two main characters in the story? Simon and Jesus. How did you hear the story differently when you read it as though Jesus were telling it to his friends? Well, we didn't read it that way, so maybe we should read it that way. So we're supposed to read it, substitute I for the word Jesus and he, but not when he refers to Simon, and substitute me for, oh, that's way too confusing. All right, we're not doing that. What is the most interesting part of the story for you? The miracle. What is the hardest to understand? The miracle. They'd been fishing all night and there were no fish. None. And then they went out and Jesus said, "Oh, try right here." And then their nets got so full it almost sunk their boat. We are all called to follow Jesus. How do we do that? Simon Peter and the other fishermen left everything to follow Jesus right on the spot. What do you think you would have done in that situation? When Simon is called to follow Jesus in this story, he is hesitant at first, just as Moses, Isaiah, and Jeremiah were. Simon is in good company. Jesus invites his disciples to fish for people, which means inviting others to follow Jesus. Jesus calls us to share our faith with others too. How could you invite someone to church? What would you do to make people feel welcome here? What is hard about inviting? How about being invited? How does that feel? Feels pretty good. How will this change the way you talk about your faith with others? All right, let's close in prayer. Jesus, be with us as we show and tell others about you and what it's like to follow you. Amen. Well, I'm really glad you guys joined me today, and I hope to see you next Saturday here at First Lutheran Church from 1 to 3, and come and make some Valentine's crafts with me. We're going to be making tie pillows. Isn't that nice? that you can give to your Valentine or keep for yourself maybe. And then we're going to be doing origami kisses. So it's like a pop-up card that has a little kiss in it, little lips. And then we're also doing photo transfer on blocks of wood or canvas. And the one other thing is Hershey Kisses, where you put two of them together end to end, and then you wrap it in cellophane, and then you take florist tape and make it look like a rose. So that's super fun. You can come and make one, come and make them all. Hope to see you there. Love you, bye.